The wind howled across the barren plains, brushing dust against the weathered boards of the small wooden cabin that stood stubborn and silent in the middle of nowhere. It was a place forgotten by time, hidden far from the trails men rode and the roads women preyed on. The sky hung low, heavy with the weight of dusk, and a blood-orange sun dipped behind jagged mountains in the distance, casting a crimson glow across the land like a warning. Asterisk inside the cabin, Eli Thatcher sat still, as stone in his creaking wooden chair, facing the fireplace though no flame burned in it. The hearth was cold, like most things in his life now. A pot of beans sat untouched on the stove. Dust coated the windowsills, the rifle leaned quietly against the wall, and a rusty harmonica lay abandoned on the table beside him, forgotten. Like every melody he once knew, Eli had lived alone for nearly 16 years. He hadn't counted the days. He didn't see the point. Every morning he rose with the sun, fed his one remaining horse, mended what needed fixing, and spent his nights staring at the past, the kind of past that clings to a man's soul like the stink of gunpowder. His mind was a haunted place. He once rode with men who called him brother, chased lawbreakers across the territory with a badge on his chest. He knew justice, and he knew love, before a bullet tore through both. His wife, Clara, gone in a fire started by men he once arrested. His unborn child, gone with her. The badge melted in the flames. After that, Eli rode out to the end of the world and stopped where the grass quit growing and the sky stopped pretending to care. He built his cabin, planted himself in the silence, and there he stayed. He didn't speak much anymore. There was no one to speak to. The only sounds were the occasional groan of the wind, the shifting of the beams above him, and his own slow breath, until the knock. It was so faint, he almost dismissed it, the kind of sound you think you dreamed. He sat perfectly still. The knock came again, then a dragging sound, like someone sliding down the outside wall. Eli stood slowly, a warning rising in his chest like bile. His hand reached instinctively for the rifle. He moved to the door with the careful silence of a man who'd seen ambushes before. He unlatched the heavy door and opened it just a crack, then wider. And there she was, slumped against the frame. A young woman, Apache by the look of her, with jet-black hair tangled across her face. Blood darkened her torn dress, trailing from her shoulder and ribs. Her skin glistened with sweat and dirt. Her breathing was shallow. But her eyes, when they lifted to meet his, were alive, fierce even through pain. She opened her mouth, trying to speak. Then her body gave out. Eli lunged forward, catching her just before she hit the ground. For the first time in 16 years, his heart slammed against his ribs like a drum calling him back to life. Eli carried her inside, cradling her broken body like it was something sacred. Her blood soaked into his shirt, hot and wet, but he didn't flinch. He hadn't touched another human being in years, and now this girl, hurt and half dead, had collapsed into his arms as if she had always belonged there. He kicked the door shut with his boot and laid her gently on the cot in the corner of the cabin, brushing strands of blood-matted hair away from her face. Her skin was burning with fever, her lips cracked and dry, yet her jaw clenched with a strength that defied the weakness in her limbs. He grabbed a bowl, poured water from his canister, and gently pressed a damp cloth to her forehead. Her eyes fluttered open for a moment, locking with his, filled with something he hadn't seen in years, trust. Or maybe desperation. The difference didn't matter. Don't speak, he murmured, voice hoarse from disuse. You're safe. Now. She tried anyway, whispering something in Apache. Eli didn't understand the words, but her tone carried fear and urgency. He didn't ask questions. He focused on cleaning the wound at her side. A deep gash just under her ribs, jagged like it was made with a crude blade. He wrapped it tight with linen from an old shirt. She hissed in pain, gripping his wrist, but he didn't stop. Her strength was fading. Someone did this to you, Eli muttered, almost to himself. Someone chased you here. The cabin suddenly felt smaller, like it was shrinking around them. He moved to the window, peered into the distance. No movement, no dust trail, no sign of horses. Not yet. He went back to her side. Her eyes were half closed, but they followed him. My name's Eli, he said quietly. You don't have to say anything. Just rest. You made it here for a reason. She blinked slowly. A tear slipped from the corner of her eye. Outside. The wind had gone still, and the sky had turned ink black. The world was holding its breath. Inside that forgotten cabin. A ghost of a man knelt beside a bleeding girl who had knocked on death's door and brought Eli Thatcher back to life.